Greetings, today on my Focus RS I am installing the Summit lower front middle 4-point chassis to subframe brace. Alright then, here we go. From Summit once again, we have a new brace going onto our Focus RS, and this time it is the lower front middle 4-point chassis to subframe brace. So obviously there's 4 points. It is just going to link the subframe and chassis together in another area underneath the car. We're going to get some chassis stiffening, reducing flex, certainly under hard acceleration, under hard cornering, and I am sure it's going to be great. I have certainly felt a good amount of improvement with the Summit braces that we have done so far on the RS, so the addition of this new brace will just continue with that, keep improving and making the handling just even better as we go. As you can see, it comes with this beautiful orange sparkly paint job that we've come to know and love from the Summit items. It is incredibly light. It is an aluminium alloy, 6061 to be precise. We have forged joints, so it is good and strong despite being super duper light. So it's just going to be a real nice upgrade, and it does come with this little pack right here, specifically for the Mark III Focus RS, which of course is relevant to us. In the pack then we have two what looks to be big spacers, a couple of bolts and a couple of washers, so it'll become clear where these go once we get under the car and actually do the installation. This brace of course is the brace that is going to complement the side reinforcement plates that we installed a while back, a couple of months ago. You don't necessarily have to do the reinforcement plates, but of course having the area reinforced is a good idea if you're going to be doing very hardcore tracking and making the most out of this brace. You might as well have the best setup you can and get the reinforcement plates to go along with this as well. I'll put a link into the description box below, a link to that video, and you can check those out as well. If you're gonna go for it, then you might as well do it right, and also you might as well do the plate and this brace at the same time and save yourself a bit of work. So yes, before we get to the actual installation, I am going to ceramic coat it like I did the other bits and bobs, and this time we are going to be using C5 wheel armor from G-Technic. It's a really good ceramic coating, good level of hardness that can take a bit of a beating, which of course is exactly what we want since this is going to be exposed underneath the car. First step, we're going to clean down and prepare the surface using an alcohol swab, and then we are going to use one of the little provided applicators that G-Technic give us, get some drops on here, and then just wipe it along. Then we'll use a clean microfiber to remove any excess, and then we'll leave it to cure, and then that will be that. Alright, under the car then you can see we're like right beside where our bracket is for our downpipe, and if you'll remember, if you've watched the video of these reinforcement plates going on, it is now here where we are going to be installing this new 4-point brace. We're going to be removing this big bolt right here, which is in our reinforcement plate. That's going to be one of our connections on both sides, and the other one is this smaller one right here. Alright, so we're going to need a couple of different sockets, and this one, the big boy here, is a 21mm, and then the small one right here is a 13mm. Now this one is quite highly torqued, so we're probably going to need to use a breaker bar to get that off. This one I think though we should be able to just use our normal 3/8 ratchet and just get that off. For this 13 I would say you'll need a little extension or just a deep socket, otherwise when you're in here you're going to be hitting off that. So I'm going to use a deep socket. Yeah, I can just do that with the 3/8, it's not overly highly torqued. Okay, so that's that one out. And I can get the one out on this side too. There we are, nice and easy. Okay then, the big boy, I've got my 21mm socket on my breaker bar. There we go. That should be loosened enough now. I can get my my small 3/8 in there. There we go. Boy, big boy. Okay, and then the same on this side. Alright, now that we have our bolts removed, we can prep our bolts for going back in. So we are going to be reusing the two big ones, and then the two smaller ones are going to be replaced by the brand new ones that we got from Summit. The small ones are the ones that are going to be using these spacers. As far as where our spacers go, you may look at this and think, well, there's an extended bit here and a shorter bit here, so it must go under there. But once we're under the car, what you'll actually see is a spacer actually needs to go on this thicker end. Kind of like that there, and that's just because of the contours of the underside of the Mark III RS. I guess the Mark II RS doesn't have the same level of elevation change, but it is what it is. So yeah, it's just going to go like that. Our new black bolt that Summit provide is going to go through here, and then our big boy bolts are going to go through this smaller section here on this side. Before we get our bolts in place though, we are going to put a bit of Loctite blue on them, so just some thread locker to make sure that they don't come out under vibration, and then that's pretty much it. So we'll get them in sort of loosely, and then we will torque them up to the appropriate torque specs. So just to begin with, I'm going to get one of our big boys in place first, just to hold it in place. Just as far as I can get it in with my hand. You're not going to be able to see, but I am doing it on the other side too. Okay, so now that means that we can position our spacer and our new bolts. So obviously the spacer has to go in here. This is a little tricky because of the length of one of our new bolts and the fact that we have to get it all the way up into here before we can even get it started on the threads. So what I have is I've got a 3/8 extension with a 17mm socket, just a regular depth of socket, but even that's a little bit too deep. So I've basically stuffed it so that the bolt doesn't go all the way into the socket. So we just want it to be sort of crowning on the edge there, and then we poke it up through and get it started on the threads. So that's it started on there, which is sweet. So now I can do the same on the other side. So the exact same thing, we'll just slide our spacer into position and then use our stuffed socket to get it started. Alright, nice. Now we are ready for torque. Okay, so I've got my two torque wrenches. So for the small ones we are doing 50 Newton meters. And then the big ones are quite high torque, as we mentioned before, so we are going for 207 Newton meters. So then repeating on the other side. And with that, we are installation complete. Well, there we go, that is the installation finished on our brand new Summit lower front middle 4-point chassis to subframe brace, and I think it looks awesome. That sparkly orange paintwork, even though you don't necessarily see it so much because it's obviously under the car, it just looks so cool. And of course, in combination with the other Summit bits that we have under there already, it just looks even more awesome. So installation was pretty quick, pretty easy, and I know it is going to be a very effective mod based on my experiences with the other Summit braces that I have done so far. far. Each one just improves the handling that bit better, going round corners harder and faster without having to engage the hard suspension mode is just awesome. And yes, I hope you like the new Summit mod. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe for more content to come very, very soon. Thank you once again. Goodbye.